Hi, my name is Kelsey and I am a language enthusiast. Today I want to talk about why grammar matters because I have noticed in the language community that we tend to shake it off a little bit and say, no, we don't want to do it, we don't need it. Once we know vocabulary and have a few model sentences, we're fine, but I just want to give an argument for why we should actually take grammar more seriously and use it to our advantage. So, actually, I want to start this with an analogy because it's the best way I can think of to describe it. When I was in high school, I started taking art tutoring and I was in AP Art and I was super excited. I had earlier wanted to be a mangaka artist because I loved comics, manga in particular, obviously. And I just really wanted to start drawing people better, more realistically. And I thought I would be getting that almost immediately, and of course, that was not the case. The first several sessions were actually extremely boring. My homework was, for example, drawing lines. Just lines like this for a very long time. That's all we did. Lines, any direction, both directions, holding firmly on the paper, seeing how the pencil reacts. So that was literally just homework, super boring, right? It seems completely useless. Then, of course, we graduated from lines and instead did shapes, basic shapes, hello shapes, squares, circles, rectangles. We did gradients, dark to light, light to dark, just pages of this. Textures, different strokes for shading. Eventually, we graduated to 3D objects. It's a very bad cube, but you get the idea. So most of drawing is lines. That's what we think. That's what I used to think, especially because I was into manga. I wasn't so much into fine art. We think that we're just drawing these lines. Now, these lines are your grammar rules. It is exactly like learning grammar rules. You're drawing lines, you're memorizing these patterns, but as long as you keep your mind focused on the rule, that's all you're drawing are these lines. Not realistic at all. Actually, what ends up happening, especially when you learn grammar in context, is that the more you practice the grammar in context, the more you draw these lines, the more you play with light and gradients in art, the more you play with declension and verb conjugation and so forth. In language, the less you actually need to think about the rule. So instead of just drawing a circle and worrying about filling that in, I instead work directly with the item that I'm using with the light. There's a lot less focus on the rule itself because at a certain point in art, just as in a certain point in language, you no longer need to think about, oh, okay, this is a feminine noun, therefore I need to use this ending or this or so on and so forth. You don't need to think about that because it comes naturally. Instead, you can just kind of enjoy yourself and create it. That's how native speakers work. Now, the thing with language is that it's somewhat easier because we have our first language as a structure. So we already have an idea of what nouns are, what verbs are, and so forth. We just need to kind of adjust it for this new framework. And then it's just pretty much learning vocabulary from there. And the great thing with the grammar, as you learn how to do this, is when you stop needing to think about the line and you need to start focusing on the shape instead and the light, and just the way you use it is that you don't spend as much time thinking about what you need to say when you're speaking. And it's easier to write, and it's easier to create sentences, to create words. You no longer need to depend on checking your grammar book or dictionary or asking a native speaker to correct you, because over time you will accommodate that naturally. But of course, that never happens if you don't start learning grammar. So, to wrap up, language learning is a lot like art, in my opinion, especially the beginning learning stages. The more you learn, the more building blocks you have, the better sentences and pictures you can create with your words. So do we need grammar? I think yes. Don't worry about it the first month or two learning a language, but take it in small chunks, internalize it, understand that these lines that you're making with grammar will eventually, you won't need them anymore and you'll still be able to make great pictures. So I hope that cleared things up. Let me know in the comments what you think about learning grammar, if you're learning grammar at all, or if you have any questions in general. Thank you. Bye.